Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to GOATcast Hoops. I am CW, also co-host of the GOATcast podcast, and I want to start out just by saying I was going to wait a little while, see if anybody came in, but I'm gonna go ahead and get this out of the way. First of all, I don't know how this stream will do. I've had to make a makeshift office, so um, I don't know if the Wi-Fi will be as good as it would be in my usual office. So please bear with us. I'm not going to. This is not going to be a long stream because I got other things to do. I've been gone all day. Had an AAU tournament from about 8:30 this morning to about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So we're tired, but I just want to thank everybody for helping the channel to get to 1,000 subs. Just thank you for the likes, the dislikes, the comments. This is just something I'm doing on the side, doing for fun. So I just thank everyone for supporting the channel, and I hope you continue to support the channel as we proceed forward. And hopefully I can get a little better at this. I hope my microphone's good. It's a little further back, but hopefully you guys can hear me well. Little disappointed because my team, the Tar Heels, they let me down in the Sweet 16. Played Alabama, played them well for one half, and then the tale of two halves. They dropped they just couldn't. RJ Davis just couldn't get anything going, and then their rivals Duke. I guess I got to give them credit. Did beat the University of Houston. They were the number one seed in their bracket. I haven't even looked at my bracket since my team, the Tar Heels, lost. So, oh well. But anyway, I don't know how this. I hope it is not. I hope it's not messing up for you guys. I don't know, but well, let me check it on my phone to make sure this thing is not choppy. So once again, thank you all for the 1,000 subs. Really do appreciate it. Really do appreciate you guys. And it's just been a labor of love. So I'm just enjoying being able to do this and being able to come up with different topics, different breakdowns. And it's very interesting to really break down certain eras, certain players, because you really don't, unless you are a numbers guy and you really you're just that type of fan, you really don't know how good some of these players are, and how sometimes stats are overrated, and some of the things they do don't really translate into what we think they do. So once again, thank you guys. I know I don't want it to be clickbait, so I guess I'll have to change the thumbnail. I listened to the LeBron podcast, Mind the Game segment that I was going to let you guys listen to and then analyze, but it was so boring. I was like, it was just him talking about college basketball and how he doesn't like their defensive schemes. I think it's prehistoric. So pretty much, him, and of course JJ agreed, because why not? So that was pretty much the whole gist of the that video clip. So we're just going to skip that. Once again, we'll go into Gil's Arena here in a second. I listened to their war zone over Team USA versus Team World. So another world war there. And then we'll come back with DreamersPro. Hopefully you guys check them out. All these links will be in the description. So, check those channels out. And we'll have I guess each week I'm going to try to highlight a YouTuber, content creator, whatever you want to call them, that you may not have heard of. I mean, some of these guys are pretty big. So I'm pretty sure most of you, if you enjoy NBA, and if you're checking out this channel, you probably know who these guys are. So I'm going to play a content creator who we're going to spotlight tonight. So let's get into Gil's Arena and their discussion on the Team USA versus Team World.
I don't know none.
Say that again. Say that out loud again. Hold on. Say that out loud again. Ask them the question one more time.
What American player has been putting up numbers like Luka?
Outside the what?
Excuse me?
Since Luka?
The European.
Is he gonna let me finish? He asked me to say it again.
I said say it again the same way.
Okay.
Outside the 5.
I didn't say outside the 5. I said of the 5. Of putting up numbers like Luka, Joker, Giannis, Sabonis, and Wemby.
So Wemby's part. Damn, a rookie is part of the 5.
Now he is.
He's blocking a lot of shots.
I ain't gonna say
Hey,
I'm just gonna say I said Wemby.
You didn't say
So we'll just put Shea in there. We're gonna have to put it's a 6.
Oh,
he's an international player.
Because he claimed that Shea is,
No, I said 6. It's international.
American.
International.
Claims that Shea's American and Murray's American.
Spend some time.
so is there any American players putting up numbers like those 5 right now?
Yeah.
No.
No.
So y'all know how many players in the NBA, right?
Yeah, like 300.
400 and something.
Yeah, like
right?
450.
450.
Yeah.
International's taken over, and you named 5. You named 5. There's 450 basketball players, and you got 5. I'm gonna give you 6.
Good players, though, Gil.
What are we talking about here? Like, I'm sorry. What the are we really talking about? There was 24 All-Stars, right? 24.
Man, Gil always got to be combative over stuff. Like he just thinks his era, his style of play, the Americans are the greatest players. The current era of basketball is just the greatest thing ever. And he's just always he just can't give it up.
Ain't none of them
20,
with the 5.
24 All-Stars.
All them niggas can move around.
Okay, you want to talk? Okay, go.
All them move around.
So again, there's 24 All-Stars. 4 made the All-Star game. 4.
4 international players.
4 international players made the All-Star game. That means there's 20 Americans. So if you want an All-Star game, that means you have to penalize 8 Americans to put in 8 Europeans who wasn't even good enough to make the team in the first place. So how is it going to be more competitive if you're getting rid of 8 All-Stars to put in 8 dudes who didn't even make this team? When we talk about the snubs, when we do the snub list, there's not even in the fucking Euro players that's even complaining about being snubbed. So who?
Because they know
All the is filling this
they
team
know
up.
they know the snubbing is
Who
bullshit.
is filling the team up that's going to be competitive?
Because you complain about the snubbing every year.
Americans.
But whoever's picking the All-Stars don't really fucking matter because a lot of other players is not getting All-Star bids or getting picked to the All-Star game. It fucking matters.
Americans.
Because there's a lot of guys who don't make the All-Star team.
Okay. I mean, I see both sides. You don't want to dilute the All-Star game, especially now after it's, kind of crashed and burned. I don't know if the Team USA, Team World concept would work. I mean, they were doing that with the, I guess the rookie game. And I mean, that was kind of okay, but to do it for the All-Star game, like you said, you would have to, it's such a small pool of guys that, I mean, the Team USA would be stacked because you could only put the best of the best on there. So, there will be a lot of snubs from the US side. And Team World, yeah, some guys might get in there that aren't quite all-star material. But, the voting is kind of, it's a popularity contest for the most part. Sometimes you get the guys that should be in there, and then other times you obviously don't. But for the most part, they get it right. But I see the concept, and I think the concept is not terrible. But excuse me, there's no saving the current NBA All-Star game. There's just no saving it. So, excuse me. So yeah, I mean, I agree with both sides. I think Rashad McCants made a good point. That starting five would just be unstoppable, pretty much. Luka, I believe he said, Jokic, Wemby, Giannis, and I forget the fifth. I think it was another big, but you can throw Jamal Murray in there. You can throw obviously Shea. They're not U.S. citizens. Well, they play for the Canada team, so they are considered Canadian, so they can play on Team World. So, I mean, I guess they could just do technically a 5-on-5, like do a shortened All-Star game or something of that nature. But yeah, you don't want to see guys that have earned it, especially U.S. guys, get snubbed just because you have to pick only international players and only the top of the top from the U.S. So, I mean, I get it. Get both sides. So I'm not. So, Gil just, it's whatever for Gil. He has his opinions and he sticks by him, and so does McCants. Rashad McCants is very opinionated, and when he has opinion, it's hard to switch change his mind on that. So that was Gil's arena. So if you're entering the live stream, appreciate you. Appreciate, again, the 1,000 subs. Super chat is open if you want to support the channel. Don't have to, obviously. So with that, let's go to DreamersPro, who has had a pretty good week of diverse topics. A lot of stuff, he reacted to was pretty good. One of them is something that I highlighted in my newest video. The Lakers aren't in the playoffs yet, so check that out if you haven't checked that out on the channel. It dropped yesterday, so it's pretty fresh. So please check that out. But Nick Wright had a very interesting take on the Lakers and the playoffs. So, and once again, check out DreamersPro, really good show. Charles does a very good job on there, and I'm gonna tell him sorry for the picture I put up. It was late last night because I was supposed to do this last night, so I was just kind of rushing through, and I couldn't find what I wanted to find, so I just put this in there. So please, don't be too mad if you somehow see this. Don't be upset that this ended up as the thumbnail of your video. So let's get into it.
For those of you who may not be aware, the Lakers just won their 5th game in a row. The Lakers are pretty much red hot right now. As we look at the NBA standings currently, the Lakers are in the 9th seed. I'm not sure if they're going to catch the Kings. We'll have to see because the Kings are 2 games up on the loss column, and I think they're going to play them again. But the Kings have lost 1 game. The Rockets could also be in play. They've won 10 games in a row. I think they have the longest winning streak right now. So the Lakers right now, if things hold, they're 2 games. I think the Lakers are going to make it into the play-in because they're also 2 games up, excuse me, on the Golden State Warriors for that 10th spot. So we'll have to see how things are shaking out there. And they had another great victory yesterday, I believe, in Memphis against the Memphis Grizzlies, right? So the Lakers are coming. So what happened? This morning, I was actually doing some research here, and I came across a clip from Nick Wright, who was on the volume with Colin Cowherd, and of course, they were discussing various things. So during that sit down, they got to a part where they were discussing the Lakers and their chances and all of that. And then Nick Wright says something that I think is probably one of the most insane takes I've heard in 2024 as it pertains to sports. But essentially what Nick Wright said was, if he's the Lakers, he would want the Lakers to face the Denver Nuggets in round 1. But before we even get into what Nick Wright said and the chances he thinks the Lakers have against the Denver Nuggets, this video is brought to you by Planets for a.
Sorry, I didn't know I
listen
kept
to what Nick Wright had to say here, and then we'll come back and continue on the show.
paid
Take a listen to what
promotion
he had
there.
to say.
Can I throw a pretty ridiculous, but I believe it's correct NBA take at you?
Absolutely. I love these.
Even though they're the 9 seed, the Lakers appear to me to have the most upside. Everyone's healthy, everything clicks, all of it. but they can't beat Denver. The Lakers should want Denver in round 1. If you have to beat them no matter what, you want them in round 2 when you just went 6 or 7 with Minnesota or OKC and they swept whoever they were playing. You want them in round 3 when the games are every other day, or you want them in round 1 when there's 2 or 3 days between games at times.
Yep.
LeBron and AD can both play 44 minutes. You are as fresh as you're going to be at any point and try to knock them off when they, you know what I mean, right before they have really hit their stride.
Oh boy, here we go.
Where do we even begin? What do we do? Where do we start? Help me understand something here. Maybe I'm missing something. I thought the objective of a team that is in the playoffs, regardless of your seeding, you could be 1 or 8. I thought the objective was to make it to the NBA Finals. I thought that was the objective, because last time I checked, that's what it was. So, if your goal is to make it to the finals, what would make more sense to you?
Oh, what's up, random black guy?
Through the path of the least amount of resistance,
James Harden will get the ring this
path
year.
of the most resistance. Which one would make better sense to you? I think most of the people watching this show would say, "Hey, listen, I'd rather take the path of least resistance to make it to the finals." But Nick Wright wouldn't. Nick Wright instead is suggesting that the Lakers should take their chances.
Hey, you don't got the Clippers going far? Hey, I got the Clippers if they get together. They've been struggling, but I got them going. They can get to the conference finals. They've been playing good. So I want Kawhi and Paul George to get one. And if that means James Harden gets one, then I'm all for it. But he's not the GOAT. Let's just settle that.
Against the Denver Nuggets, who all of us, including himself, have come to the conclusion is the best team in the Western Conference. But in Nick Wright's mind, he's saying, well, look at it. Yes, Denver is the best team. Yes, they are. So if I'm the Lakers, what I would do is I would try to beat the best team right now to get them out of the way. And
Jordan
then,
better be GOAT.
because I'm fresh, no injuries, and then go out there and beat the other teams who are weaker. Let's look at it from a standpoint of probability. What team gives the Lakers the greatest chance of knocking the Lakers out of the playoffs? What team would that be? I'm going to raise my hand and say the Denver Nuggets. Who do you vote for? I think the majority of the people that voted would be the Nuggets.
Nuggets.
In your mind, it makes the most sense to face the team with the greatest probability to knock you out immediately. So that means that what? You're basically gambling on being knocked out of the first round and your entire playoff series is over. Instead of having that Nuggets team go face another team that could potentially knock them out, so you don't have to face them at all. But in Nick's mind, he's like, yeah, I'd rather face them first. Who says this? Even under the post, let me just read some comments. One person said clickbait, but that's Nick's reason. But Nick's reasoning makes sense. If you have to beat the Nuggets anyway, may as well try it when you're the healthiest and most rested. Another person said, before watching, what the are you talking about? After watching, shaking his head. Let's go to some other comments. Lakers won't beat the Nuggets. LOL. Another person said, I felt this way. Another person said, I like this take. Another person said, have the Nuggets ever beat a healthy Lakers team? Another person said, total clickbait tweet, but you got me. Nick Wright is super logical here, though. Nobody beats the Nuggets in a 7-game series, so you might as well try it in round 1 when you're fresh. And another person said, that would be perfect for Dallas. And another person is laughing. Last year when the Lakers lost to the Nuggets, was it because of their health?
True.
Why are you talking about health? Was it because of their health? The Nuggets are clearly the best team in the Western Conference. I don't see the sense in wanting to face that team first, because that team gives you the greatest chance of being knocked out of the entire playoffs. Whereas if you face other teams, you can be in the playoffs longer and hope for attrition and all of those things to kick in on if the Nuggets playing other teams. And then when you get to them, hopefully they're a little bit worn out and then you face them. Now, some people say, well, you don't want to be worn out in the playoffs because by the time you face the Nuggets, you're going to be worn out. But you're going to be worn out anyway, even if you beat them. So what are you talking about? You're going to be worn out by the time you make it to the Western Conference Finals anyway. So being worn out is not a good enough argument. You're still going to deal with that. Every team is going to deal with it. Well, not every team. Teams that advance. But to say that you want to play the Denver Nuggets in round 1 and take your chances against beating them, good luck. Good luck. If you've seen something that makes you feel like you can beat the Nuggets, then go ahead, have at it. Good luck.
Yeah, I did a video on this, and I mean, Nick Wright, it sounds logical, but it's very illogical. Like he said, I mean, why would you have to go through because that's not going to be a sweep by the Lakers. Absolutely not. It's more so possible for a sweep for the Nuggets. So if, it does go 6-7 games, that the Lakers going to have to give them everything they have. And you'd have to go against who next? The Clippers, maybe? That's not the Clippers or I believe New Orleans. And of course, I believe that series is going to go deep too. So both teams will be tired and worn out, and it will be a war of attrition. But I would stick with not having to play Denver first round, and maybe some way another team, I don't know, Minnesota, somebody that matches up a little better or has, I guess, a younger, the Lakers are a young team, but a team that is a little more seasoned than the Lakers can give them a lot of trouble, and, then you can move on. But yeah, Nick Wright, he tries to make points that sound like he's making some kind of prophetic and profound statement, but usually if you really think about it, no, that doesn't give the Lakers any kind of advantage. If you wanted an advantage, just hope and pray that somehow the Denver Nuggets get knocked out of the playoffs in the first or second round, and then maybe you can get a good matchup in the conference finals. But I don't see either one of those happening. So, yeah. So there's DreamersPro. Check him out. I'm going to link his this video in the description. So if you want to check out DreamersPro, check him out. Post daily, he's got a podcast, so check that out. But pretty interesting. So my spotlight channel for this week, I know I'm moving kind of fast, but I got to eat dinner, and I'm tired. Been in a gym in a hard on those hard bleachers all day, so I'm trying to go lay down in my bed and relax for the rest of this evening. But I did schedule this live stream, so thought I would follow through with it. So this is who I'm going to spotlight this week is Angry Old Hoops Fan, and if you haven't checked him out, he's not the biggest fan of LeBron. And as I said earlier in the live stream, I didn't put my LeBron podcast clip on this one because it was entirely too boring. And it's good. That's good for real basketball fans. And I understand it. I get it. But you don't want to hear that for an hour. Him and JJ just patting each other on the back because they were from this current era, and this current era knows basketball better than any era ever. And they're just the greatest things to happen to basketball. But that's kind of what it is. and he throws some little jabs every now and then, but they're thinly veiled. You can't, the whole Steph and AI are the most influential players, and you leave out Michael Jordan. That's for another time and day. But Angry Old Hoops Fan has a video out. Came out a few weeks ago, I believe, or I think last week. Matter of fact, the week before, chronicling some of what LeBron James and JJ Reddick were talking about. This was when their podcast premiered, which would be last week. I'm not last week, but the week before. So I'm gonna play this. Check out. I'll link you guys to Angry Old Hoops Fan, and that'll do it for tonight. Once this is over, and I tried to edit it. We try to keep this channel PG or PG-13 in that range to family friendly. This is not something that I want to have all kind of, that's why I edited the Gills Arena stuff as best I could. So yeah, we try to keep this a little clean. So I went through a little bit of this. I didn't go through the whole thing. I'm probably not going to play the whole thing, but I'm going to play some of this. This is him talking about Mind the Game podcast with LeBron James and JJ Reddick.
Back to Ticket TV. It was the first time I listened, and he had listened to LeBron and JJ's first podcast. God bless any of you who can suffer through that shit. I'm not going to listen to it at all. But he pointed out a couple of things. I'm not going to spend time on this first thing, except to say that it's as expected. They did not touch the topic of the steroid allegations, but who really thought that they would? What I commend Ticket TV for saying is that, LeBron, was lifting Curry up, I guess, as being a game changer with the 3-point shooting. And he said, no, that's not when it happened. And he talked about, correctly, the history of the game changing. Now, a year ago or so, I don't know, I'm so old, years blend together, I did a video on here in which I mentioned the book Spaced Out that talks about the tactical evolution of the game and the actual origins of changing to 3-point shooting. They sort of talk about it as it being as simple as, hey, there's a chance you'll miss a 2-point shot. There's a chance you'll miss a 3-point shot. You might as well be shooting 3-pointers. It mentions Don Nelson. It mentions Mike D'Antoni and the Phoenix Suns. It moves on to talk about Mike D'Antoni's Rockets. And as Ticket TV correctly pointed out, it was just the fact that Curry hit so many that made people not be able to ignore what was happening. Something else in that book was inadvertently referred to by, was it Sports and Fitness Rants? Maybe it was Uncommon. I think it was Sports and Fitness. Defending some narrative that the old guys sucked because look what today's players can do, all the people that can shoot the 3-pointer. Well, there were specialists. The 3-pointer just wasn't something that was embraced. In fact,
every team had one.
Purists of the time thought it was sacrilegious to even introduce the 3-point shot to the NBA. My feelings about whether basketball is better or worse, or it should be played one way or another way, is irrelevant. I'm just reading history. I'm just going to say that things change. When you're used to certain things, new things tend to be hard for people to accept. And basketball purists at the time didn't really like it. Anyway, point I was getting at is this switch from having specialists to everyone being a generalist. And Mike D'Antoni is mentioned in this book as being one of those people who didn't just want his specialists like Steve Nash shooting the 3-ball. He wanted everybody to be able to shoot the 3-ball. So if you want to point at a time when this change took place, that's a pretty good time to look at. So does that make today's players better, that they were taught to practice the 3-point shot more? You know, I would point out that most of today's players look scared to death of the mid-range.
I agree.
So I guess it's all about what you practice. It's easy to forget teams that didn't win it all. So let me take you down memory lane really quick. Do you remember?
Let me touch on that topic real quick. Yeah, it is. You don't, and because usually at the 3-point line, the defender is not in your space most times, and I see it a lot. Like I said, I spent all today or most of my day today in gyms watching an AAU tournament. And that's the thing. A lot of players are fine with just jacking up threes. And mostly because either the help defense doesn't get there fast enough. If they're playing the zone, you know, whoever's on the wing, a lot of times they'll hit the guy in the corner guy will shoot it because the guy, you know, in the whatever 3-2 or 2-3 doesn't get over quick enough. So you have enough space. So, you know, a lot of times if you're comfortable with your shot, you'll fake it, pump fake at the 3, dribble in 1 or 2 dribbles and shoot the mid-range, because the center's not going to, or whoever's playing in the middle likely isn't going to make it in time over there, because, you know, he's not going to react fast enough. So, you know, that's when you see the mid-range the most, is when you have the space to shoot it. A lot of guys won't shoot. They'll shoot a 3 contested before they shoot a mid-range contested, which I find weird, because I didn't mind the mid-range shot. I think I was pretty good at it back in the day, and I could shoot a 3 as well, but it wasn't a comfortable shot back then. I'm probably right up there with angry old Hoops fan, maybe not as old, maybe older, I don't know. But you know, I played back in the 80s. Y'all guys always talk bad about the 80s, and I played into the 90s. And you know, a lot of kids weren't comfortable unless you just trained that shot. A lot of guys weren't comfortable shooting the 3, and a lot of guys didn't mind shooting mid-range, because number one, you're closer, and it gives you a chance to kind of follow your shot a little better than trying to follow from way out on the 3-point line on the perimeter. So yeah, so like I said, I could shoot it. I could shoot the 3, and for a little while, I could shoot the 3 fairly well. But I was more comfortable shooting in the mid-range setting, just because, like I said, I was close to the basket. Because I'm closer, I can, you know, if I miss, I can chase my shot down a little bit better than having to run in from the 3-point line and try to jump over the mountaintops that are down low. So I kind of agree with what he's saying. Guys do kind of, outside of like your DeMar DeRozans, and I don't even know who shoots a lot of mid-range. I guess Durant shoots a lot of mid-range. I see Kawhi shooting quite a bit from the mid-range. You know, even LeBron will shoot the mid-range quite a bit. And of course, Anthony Davis, he's a big-time mid-range shooter. But a lot of those guys, when you look at those guys have length. So it's easier for them to shoot over guys. You know, a guy like Shea, well, Shea's a good mid-range shooter. But, you know, you got a guy like Steph, he might not shoot a lot of them because he's not a little bit, he's a lot shorter than a lot of guys he may encounter in that setting. So I agree with angry old Hoop fan.
That in the 2005 Western Conference Finals, Phoenix faced San Antonio, who went on to win the championship.
My favorite team.
In 2006, Phoenix had to go through the Lakers, had to go through the Clippers, had to go through Dallas, who went on to face Miami in the finals. They made the conference semifinals the next year, and then that was pretty much the end. But that isn't nothing. And now I'm going to talk about accountability, which is something that comes up a lot on my channel and similar channels. A lot of people said that Steph Curry and the Warriors ruined basketball with the 3-point game. Well, You can no longer point at them, but that's not really why I'm bringing it up. I bring up accountability in that people always have a choice. You are not forced to do what other people do. If the Warriors ruined the game with the 3-point game, then why are people simultaneously using that as a reference point that today's athletes are better?
I'm gonna stop it there because I won't go through the whole video. You guys check this video. I'm gonna link it in the description. Check it out to hear it in its entirety. But yeah, he brings up a good point. Why are teams either mimicking Golden State or, as he said, using them as a reference point? Because obviously what they're doing is working because everybody's following that baseline and everybody's trying to match what the Golden State Warriors were able to do throughout those 2010s into the 2020s. Every team is a weak man's Golden State Warriors. And you see it from the top to the bottom. I mean, the only team that maybe, there's very few teams that differentiate themselves from the pack. And you got the Denver Nuggets who can shoot the three, but don't bomb away. Then you got the Lakers. I mean, to be honest, because they don't have a ton of 3-point shooters. They do have shooters that can hit from three, but they don't have a whole. They aren't constructed with nothing but shooters. Excuse me. And for that fact, they play a slightly different style where it's not just not drive and kick, and drive or cut, dribble, cut, move, pick and roll, pick and pop, hit that guy, and boom, three. No, they drive to the basket. I mean, that is why they have the huge free throw differential. They do drive a lot, but they do get a lot of tic-tac fouls. But we're not even going to get into that with the Lakers. I said in the beginning, I do have a new video out on the Lakers. Please check that out. Also, check out our podcast, the podcast with myself and Big Nige. We had a little time off, but just recently dropped the Caitlin Clark video. So check that on that other channel. It's linked in most of my videos. I'll link it in this as well. So check out the GOATcast podcast. Also check out Angry Old Hoop Fan. Very knowledgeable guy, knows his stuff. Not a huge fan of LeBron, which, I can honestly say I'm not either, but still respectful for the most part. So go check that out. Like I said, the LeBron podcast, if that's your cup of tea, a lot of X's and O's, a lot of jargon that you may not know, because when I played, I haven't played, seriously since the late 90s, early 2000s. So some of the stuff he's talking about isn't stuff that we ever really, those X's and O's didn't come up in our gameplay. So, listen at your own risk. But it's good for, these AAU kids and these other kids to see how NBA players kind of judge how the game is played at the lower levels and some of the stuff that they can learn to kind of get, most of them won't make it, but, to get ready to be a part of, or to potentially have a chance at the highest level. But we are going to wrap this live stream up. Like I said, been a day, so I'm going to wind down, hang out with the family before Easter, and enjoy my night. And that's the rest of my night. But once again, thank you guys for helping us reach 1,000 subs. Like I said, this is a labor of love. I'm just doing this out of pure fun. If I make any money, great. If not, that's fine. I'm gonna just continue doing it because, like I said, I enjoy it. I enjoy doing the research. I enjoy putting everything together, putting the clips, everything, the script, all of that. So please continue following the channel. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and just continue to support us. I know I need a new mic. That's my next purchase. So bear with me until I get to that. But once again, I do appreciate you guys. And next week, I will be out of town on a work trip. So I don't know if Ready for the Reaction will be live then. I don't know if I'll post it, but I'll see what goes on through this week, what Gills Arena, what Mind the Game, what DreamersPro, if you guys have any suggestions for other channels that you want me to spotlight, please, hit me up in the comment section or just send me, I have my inquiries email out there. So if you want to check that out, you can send it, but I don't send me there. That's for business stuff, but definitely hit me up in the comment section. If you have a channel that you want me to check out and spotlight, let me know. So once again, I thank you guys. Sorry for I don't know how this sounds live because I had to get a makeshift office because we got a lot of things going on downstairs. So I said I was going to do this and I did it. I kept up my promise. So once again, like I said, thank you. And I will be back this week, every week, just like every other week. We'll have 2 videos. I'm not sure what day my next video will be dropping. It's either Tuesday or Wednesday, so look out for that. Check out the Lakers video that just dropped yesterday, and also look out for next weekend when I will drop another video. And we're gonna talk about some of these playoffs and things like that. And I got a pretty interesting Scottie Pippen video that you might want to check out later this week. So once again, thank you guys, and I will see you guys soon.